Patricia Graham, our guest. She is Vice President Digital Pacific Newspaper Group, which means, what's your job description exactly? Which means?
My job description is really trying to make the most of our digital assets and make sure that we're maximizing our revenue opportunities around our digital assets, working with advertising, working with the newsrooms to leverage our content and to create new products as well and new sources of revenue, which we need to carry us into the future.
I hear tell you need salespeople selling ads, ads online, ads in this. What's the future of this? A tabloid or this?
Yeah, well, I think that the reality for our industry is that print circulation will continue to decline. And what's been interesting in Canada as opposed to the United States is that as circulation has declined, readership has stayed relatively flat. So there's still a lot of readers of the print product. The print product is also the big revenue generator. You know, newspapers in Canada make a significant amount of money from advertising revenue. It is the engine that keeps the train running. But it's a demographic issue. And, you know, young people, they'll pick up a paper and read it if it's around, but they won't necessarily buy one.
Really?
They won't necessarily buy one. And so that product will continue to decline. Will it actually ever die out? I don't know. I don't expect it to be gone before I'm gone. I'll be gone first. So
before this goes, I hope I'll be gone too, because I love this.
Yes.
But I've been raised with this, and it's part of my morning routine. Now, my children get an espresso, go to their laptop.
Yes.
I don't think they're consuming as much hard news. I think they're more infotainment driven. I can't prove it, but I have a feeling.
Well, I can give you some evidence to back up your feeling, because our research shows that celebrity news is popular right across demographics. So our most serious readers are readers who consume a lot of news across a lot of platforms, who like a lot of opinion. You know, real news junkies, they also like celebrity news. They also like free products. So, you know, celebrity news is surprisingly popular.
So the Real Housewives story, Daphne Bramham wrote a great column about Real Housewives and that they add some glam to our Lotus land, and there's always a side story.
Yes.
What does the husband of one of the housewives really do? Who is he connected to? All of that. So this story has legs, as they say.
Yes, yes. It does, it does. And you know, that's kind of celebrity news, of course it is, but there's also some meat on the bones, right? Yeah.
So when you go to the Vancouver Sun app, do I find out that Snooki's pregnant and that the teachers are going to strike, and all of that, all the content in here, can I get on the app, or how does that work?
Yeah, no, you don't get all of the print content on the app.
Right.
So the app is a selection of content that the editors make. They update it a few times a day. It's very strong on visuals, as you can tell. And the app is intended at this stage, these things always change, to more resemble reading a newspaper, to be not as light and fluffy. Even though you can go to certain sections and get your light and fluffy if that's what you want. But the app is intended to be more, a little more substantial.
Sure. So horoscope, sports, obits, yes, no.
On the app?
Yeah.
There'd be sports, but not on the app would we have the others, the horoscope.
Okay, so, well, a good reason to buy the newspaper to find out what's happening in the horrible scope, I would think.
Yes,
there's probably a site for that too.
It's on the website, right? So you can also look at the website on your tablet. You can look at the website on your mobile phone. But the app is sort of a specialized content, and it's a beautiful reading experience, right? It's very visual. It's very pleasant. It's more like reading a hard copy of something, in my experience.
Okay, so when you do the surveys, what do people want? What do they want to read? What are they hungry for?
Right.
We did a television survey recently, and apparently many Shaw viewers want to hear about food and real estate in a certain demographic.
Yes.
That's in a certain demographic. That's 30, 50 or something. They want food shows and real estate shows.
Yes. So, well, we know in Vancouver, everybody's interested in real estate. So that's a great subject area. But overall, for what our research shows is what people want from us is they want news, they want the breaking news. They're as interested in local news and national news and international news. They're not less interested in international than in local.
Interesting, because it used to be people care about what happens 10 blocks from their homes.
Now
Not anymore.
They're all of equal value to them. They're all important to them. They want a variety of opinion, and they want analysis. This is from the Vancouver Sun. So it's a little different.
Sure.
Food wouldn't be really high up there.
On the list.
It's not as granular as well of news. What do you want? I mean, it is, but I would say our research is more sort of big picture.
I get it.
But again, we know from the sales of the paper and from watching the metrics online, something like real estate, you can't beat it.
How much time for the side story? In other words, the teachers are going to strike on Monday. I got an update on my phone in the makeup room. Teachers going on strike on Monday. The question we were talking about in there, what do teachers make? What does a beginning teacher make? What's the package? Holiday time, all of that. If you don't have a teacher in your family, you don't know. So it's hard to weigh in on the issue if you don't know what they're making or what they want and why they want to raise and all of that. Would the Sun or the province or, you know, a Metro Daily go after that side story, or is there time or is there space?
Oh, definitely there is, but if they're going to do something like that, they're more likely to do it for a weekend. So let's hope that there's something like that this weekend. But definitely I think that that's still part of a very important part of creating content out of a good-sized newsroom is you've got to give people the background and the context to follow things. So,
however, we used to scrap for being first. And now I don't know how you be first. Certainly in the radio business, get the story first, get the story first, just get it out. Call the lawyer, get it out.
Yes.
Now what happens?
It's still the same. It's still the same. It's still important to get the story first because that breaking news will still get you the audience. That's the big thing. And we all keep an eye on each other now digitally, right? Watching what everybody else is doing and making sure that we're on top of things, and you try to create a better package than the next person, and you try to advance the story the same as we used to do.
Right.
So, you know, if CKNW, which has a great newsroom, if they break a story, we want to steal it from them. We want to make it ours. It's still the same.
And when I was on CKNW, I would take the paper and clip and read out of the paper. They'd think you were so smart.
I know.
You know,
I know.
because they can't see you on the radio.
I don't know what radio news is going to do. It would do if newspapers
No,
weren't
it's
around.
so true because you say, okay, in your story meetings, and this was true at the CBC or wherever I worked, we'd go through all the papers and we'd say, oh gosh, there's an OxyContin story. Do we want to follow that?
Yes.
Job fair coming up. Real Housewives.
We call it rip and read.
For sure.
Yeah.
And when we can no longer rip and read, it'll be a different world, for sure.
It will be. So I hope we can always have people able to rip and read. I hope we always have good-sized newspaper newsrooms.
Now, what about the greening of the newspaper business? The type of paper, the type of ink, how it's all put together, to have a colored picture or not?
Right. So all our ink is recyclable. And the newspaper, we try to source as much recycled newsprint as possible. It's a supply and demand thing at times, but we use a good percentage. It's going to fluctuate what the percentage is that's recycled paper because it depends on the supply. But they work pretty hard at keeping things.
And when you hear that Murdoch now has yet another paper after the hacking scandal, is that the future, the tabloid future, like from News of the World to, what's he calling it, Sunday something?
Oh yeah, well, I suppose I do fear sometimes that the News of the future is the free paper. Because, again, across demographics, people are okay with free papers. It's not all they want, but there's an appetite for them. But if you want recycled content, that's your best place to get it, is a free paper. They don't have the resources to create original content.
What advice are you giving at J School, at journalism school? I know you teach there occasionally, to young journalists. If you want to work in the newspaper business, in the print business, here's what you need to know or do. You need to be an entrepreneurial journalist, and you need to understand that everybody today has a responsibility for the revenue side of things. Otherwise, we will not have journalism jobs in the future. And you need to be multimedia. You need to be proficient across
all platforms. So you need to be able to write, speak in front of a camera, shoot video, shoot photos, the whole gamut.
Oh, glad I was there in the olden days. Thank you.
Thank you, Fanny.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Patricia Graham, former editor-in-chief of the Vancouver Sun, current VP Digital Pacific Newspaper Group.